I woke up to pounding at my door. 6 a.m. My sister stood there, suitcase in hand, hair tangled, smirking like she owned the place. Behind her, my mother's voice cut through the hallway. "She'll live here from now on. And by the way, we're doubling your rent to cover our expenses." I stared at them in silence. My sister shoved past me, dropped her bag in the living room, and flopped on my couch as if she'd signed a lease. My mother's grin was sharper than any knife. I said only one sentence. "Then I'll move out." They laughed, like I was bluffing, like I had nowhere else to go. That was their first mistake. I used to believe in family. I really did. When I was younger, I carried their weight, working part-time while finishing school, paying bills when my father disappeared into debt and my mother claimed she couldn't manage. My sister, lazy, spoiled, shielded, was their golden child. They coddled her, excused her failures, while I was treated as free labor in their little kingdom. I swallowed it, for years, because I thought loyalty was worth the pain. But loyalty dies the moment you're betrayed. The rent I paid every month? It was never for expenses. I found out through a slip of paperwork left on the kitchen counter months ago. Bank records showing thousands in deposits from me, then withdrawals for vacations, spa packages, and debt payments that weren't mine. I kept quiet, observed, listened. My mother once whispered to my sister on the phone, "Don't worry, she'll never leave. She's trapped here." Trapped. That word replayed in my head like a ticking clock. I decided then I wouldn't yell, I wouldn't beg. I would burn their little game to ashes. So when they laughed at me, I smiled inside. I had been preparing for this moment long before they showed up. A second apartment already secured under my name. Movers on standby, waiting for my call. A storage unit rented and paid 6 months ahead. But the revenge wasn't just leaving. No, leaving quietly would have been a gift. I wanted them to choke on their arrogance. That same afternoon, while they celebrated in my kitchen with cheap champagne, I signed the final lease papers. By evening, the movers were at my door. I didn't take just my clothes. I took everything. Every piece of furniture I had bought with my money. The couch, the dining set, the bed frames, the lamps, the fridge, the washer, the microwave, even the curtains. They belonged to me. Every receipt proved it. The look on my sister's face as strangers carried out the couch she had claimed as hers was priceless. My mother shrieked, called me selfish, ungrateful. I ignored her. By midnight, the apartment was a hollow shell. Bare walls, echoing floors. When I stepped out, I left the keys in the lock. The next morning, my phone exploded with calls. Voicemails of my mother's voice cracking with rage. "You can't do this! We have nothing to sit on, nothing to cook with. How could you?" My sister screaming in the background. "She stole from us! Call the police!" I smiled, because I knew something they didn't. I had already spoken to a lawyer. Every item was legally mine. Every threat they tried to throw at me would collapse in their hands. And the final nail? I stopped my automatic rent transfers. The account they had bled dry was cut off permanently. They had counted on my money like addicts count on their next fix. Now the faucet was shut. I moved into my new apartment that night, a place filled with my furniture, my silence, my freedom. When I sat on my couch, the same one my sister had sprawled across at dawn, I finally exhaled. For 10 years, I had carried them, fed them, paid for their comforts while they mocked me. Now they were sitting on the floor of an empty apartment surrounded by nothing but their entitlement. They thought they could trap me, but I walked out with the walls stripped bare, and I left them to suffocate in the emptiness they created. Family isn't blood. Family is loyalty. and they lost the right to call themselves mine the moment they laughed. Final thought? I didn't just move out. I took back everything they stole from me. And in the silence that followed, I heard something sweeter than any apology they could have faked. I heard their downfall echoing in the hollow rooms I left behind.